Real quick before this editor starts, I do want to apologize for this video being extremely scuffed. Recorded this about a month ago, but if you don't already know, I am in the process of moving. And I'm just now a month later uploading the video, and since I've moved, I can't really go back or fix anything. So this is kind of a one-shot and done video. But I love you guys and hope you enjoy the video.
So like always, we're gonna go ahead and start off with the very back of my room. So going around every single one of my closet doors, as well as going around my entire room, I have these really nice and high quality RGB strips. Now these are the Govee RGBIC Smart LED strips. The reason I love these things so much and why I have them going around my entire room is that they have that RGBIC capability. Now these LED strips are expensive, but they're definitely worth it because as you can tell, these things look beautiful. Now I know it's not Christmas anymore, but I haven't taken down this ho 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 sign. It kind of just fills a little space right here. I don't really have a reason why I haven't taken it down though. Down here on the bottom, I do have these really nice floodlights. I don't know what brand they are, but they're extremely cheap and they do a really good job lighting up this bottom portion of my room. Nothing too special, but they are really, really nice. Now moving on to the more exciting part of the back wall. In this corner right here, I have 3 different neon signs. I have 2 lightning bolts and a planet. Now I used to have these on my actual setup, but now I have a lot going on in my setup. So a few months ago, I went ahead and changed them off to this back corner, and I think it looks amazing. Now probably one of my most frequently asked questions is where did I get these 3D wall panels? You can't actually buy these. I actually built them. It consists of 12 different foam panels, and behind the actual foam panels is a cardboard box that I cut to match the shapes. Then going around the back of these, I once again have the Govee RGB LED strips, and then I use some command strips to hang it up on the wall. And now we have this really cool glowing foam panel. Moving on, we now have my productivity gaming setup. Running this setup, we have the 2021 M1 MacBook Pro, and this thing is an absolute beast. Not only does it produce a crap ton of power, but it is perfect when I need to just sit down and have a really long editing session, because thanks to the new M1 chips, editing on a laptop has never been so clean. Paired up with my MacBook, I do have this 32-inch AOC ultra-wide monitor, and sitting down and getting this straight on perspective of this thing is absolutely crazy. And editing on this thing is an absolute breeze. I am absolutely in love with this thing. And it's nothing too crazy. It's a 75 hertz display, but that's all I really need for editing, and it gets the job done perfectly. Now for my peripherals for this setup, as always, you know I'm rocking the Gutsy 8-in mouse pad. Then this is a wireless keyboard that was sent out to me by a company, and I am in love with this thing. It does have those mechanical clicky switches, which I really, really like when I'm editing. And for the mouse, I have a SteelSeries mouse. I don't really know the exact model that I have, but this is the Rival 3 wireless. Again, nothing too special, but it's a really nice mouse, and it's great because it's Bluetooth, because having to plug in a bunch of cables to the MacBook every time I dock it can get really, really annoying. Now, sitting on all of this, I do have this really nice wooden sit-stand electric desk. Moving on to the more boring part of my background, going around the entire wall, once again, I do have the Govee RGBIC LED strips. Sitting on my bed, I have another one of the basic floodlights that just helps give this wall a little bit more color when I'm streaming. And on the wall, I just have a bunch of baseball pictures that I've had since I was like 7. Every single time I move and I get into a new place, these pictures somehow always end up back in my room. It's kind of like a memory thing, I guess. I really don't know. And then obviously we have my bed. Nothing too special. It's a bed. I also still have my Christmas blankets on there because I've been too lazy to go back and get my other blankets. So for now, we're kind of rocking with these things. Now on my window, I know it's open right now to help bring a little bit more light in. Covering my window, I have these really, really nice blackout curtains. But what makes my window so unique, and the reason I love it, is these fairy lights that I have. These are the exact same fairy lights that Lo has. If you know him, I mean, you probably know who he is if we're being honest. But anyway, these fairy lights are just sick, and they have a bunch. I don't really know how they do it, but they can literally move. I have it on like the little twinkle mode, which little white lights pop up everywhere. I don't know. It looks really, really cool, and I love it. It definitely adds a little bit of a spark to my room. Moving on to the entire reason everybody clicked on this video, it is my gaming setup. We'll go ahead and start off with this wall right here. On this wall, I have Govee glides. These things are absolutely amazing, and they look beautiful. Not only does it light up my setup a little bit, but it helps keep this wall not as bland and basic as it used to be. Now, on the back of my wall, I have these really, really nice 3D panels. I have these things covering pretty much all of this back wall, and these things look amazing. Getting these panels definitely wasn't necessary. I can't say for sure it does add a really nice look to the back wall. Now moving on to the actual setup and everything. In this corner, I have 2 different candles as well as a G Fuel shaker cup and an air purifier. Nothing too crazy. And for the actual desk that holds everything up, I get this question a lot. This desk was built from IKEA. It consists of 2 different white Alex drawers separated by these metal furniture risers. And on top of the whole thing is the IKEA Ekbacken. This desk is an extremely good good price, coming in at about $250 to build the whole thing. But this desk is massive and aesthetically looks beautiful. So even though it's $250, I could definitely highly recommend it. Moving on, back here, I do have my camera mount. I'm currently using my camera to record this video. That is where my camera goes. I get a lot of questions about the mount that I use for my camera, so I'll make sure I definitely have that linked in the description. Also, I forgot to mention that I will have every single product linked in the description. Now, moving on to my actual peripherals. With my new color setup scheme, I went ahead and changed a few things up. For my keyboard, this is an Acco DIY custom kit. I don't know these exact parts, but if you're interested in this keyboard, I'll have the parts to it linked in the description. But I do know the switches are Acco's vintage whites, which look and sound and feel amazing. And the reason I do have it in pink is because my current setup scheme is pink, orange, and blue. And with my current mouse pad, I had little hints of pink in it. So I feel like using the pink keyboard kind of contrasts and pops out really well. I really like it. And moving on to my mouse, I currently have the Logitech G Pro Superlight. This thing is absolutely amazing, and I do play Valorant. I'm not that good at it. I'm still hard stuck gold 3, so I can't say the mouse has made me too much better, but I definitely enjoy having this ultralight mouse so much. And of course, like always, I am rocking the Gutsy Aiden mouse pad. This is the Gutsy Aiden and Low collaboration mouse pad. It looks amazing. I used to always have my setup as a blue and white theme, but personally, having that little hint of pink in there just looks amazing. Unfortunately, he doesn't sell this version anymore. It was kind of like a limited edition thing, so I'm super glad I picked it up while it was in stock. Now, moving on to my microphone, I get this question a lot. I used to have the Shure MV7, but recently Lewitt sent me out the Lewitt 440 Pure, and I fell in love with this microphone. Now, this is a XLR microphone, so powering this XLR microphone, I have the Go XLR Mini. Now, this interface is very expensive, coming in at $250, and obviously you can get an interface for a whole lot cheaper, but not only does the aesthetic look of the interface amazing, when I'm streaming, it also has these sliders, which makes it extremely easy for me to control my audio while I'm streaming, which for me personally is extremely important. Holding on my microphone, I also have the Blue Compass. This is kind of like the most common boom arm you can buy. It's definitely extremely expensive, but just for me personally and what I do, definitely the best boom arm I have ever used, and I highly recommend it. And moving on to my headset, I do have these SteelSeries Arctis 7s. I got these bad boys in white, and even though I could have gone for a more better sounding headset, I went with the Arctis 7s because they look amazing and they're wireless, and a big part of my stream is when I freak out and I start running around my room and doing a bunch of random crap. So having a wireless headset was pretty much essential for me. And even though these things haven't given me some problems, I still do recommend them because I am in love. Now, a little bit of a side topic, but underneath, I recently picked up a foot hammock, and this thing is just amazing. Obviously, it's not that important, but I love my foot hammock. Now, moving on to my left monitor, which is my vertical monitor. This is just our basic Samsung 27-inch curved monitor. Nothing too special. This actually used to be my main gaming monitor, but over the last year of completely redoing my setup, this has now become my vertical monitor. It looks really good to have a 27-inch monitor when you have two 24 inches stacked. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but it definitely looks amazing. Now for my main monitor, this is an Asus 24-inch 165 hertz gaming monitor. I got this about 5 months ago, and I am in love. It was kind of a funny story. I went from having 144 hertz back to 60 hertz, then 3 months later went back to 144 hertz. And this screen is beautiful. You can definitely tell the difference in colors because this is also an IPS display, and it comes in at about 250 bucks. So it was honestly a great price for how good it looks. Now my top monitor, I have been pronouncing this thing wrong for a long time. Apparently it's pronounced Skeptor, but anyway, this is a basic 24-inch Skeptor monitor, nothing special. It's a 75 hertz display. And I actually recently picked this up about 3 months ago for this entire setup revamp, but it's nothing too crazy, not the best of specs, but for a secondary monitor, it's really all you need. Now on a less important topic, I do have a 8-inch ring light. This is my main face light for streaming, but soon I am planning on picking up an Elgato key light because this little ring light really and truly does give me inconsistent lighting when I'm streaming, so that definitely will be changing pretty dang soon. Now moving on to definitely the star of this setup, my computer. Now this is a custom built computer, and this thing is maxed out. I currently have a vertically mounted Asus ROG Strix RTX 3070, and if you're wondering how I got one, I bought it from a scalper. I paid way too much for it. I'm gonna cry about it. But this card looks absolutely amazing and packs a huge punch. Now for my CPU, I have the Ryzen 9 5900X, which I recently picked up, and cooling that off is the Corsair Capellix 360mm AIO. Again, I recently picked up this AIO, and it is stunning, and it is definitely a huge upgrade from my last one. Now, since I did upgrade my CPU, I went ahead and upgraded my motherboard, and I have the Asus Prime Z390A. Wait, is that what it is? I think that's what it is. I'm still trying to memorize the name of it. I get confused because of my last one. No, it is the Asus Prime B550A. I knew it was wrong. I knew it. For my RAM, I have 32 gigs of Corsair's Vengeance Pro RGB RAM. Obviously, my setup is very RGB and it has a lot of lights and colors going throughout it. So having this really nice RGB RAM was definitely an essential for my setup. Then going around my entire setup, I do have these Asia Horse cable extensions. These things are definitely a must-have for me, as a lot of cables are showing in my computer, and having those really basic black cables just don't look that good. So having these Asia Horse cable extenders is definitely essential for me. Now, cooling off every part of my computer, I have the Corsair LO120s on the back part of my PC, as well as my AIO. But down here on the bottom, I have the Corsair's QL120. Now, the reason I did this is because the back of the LL120s are really basic and they don't have any lighting, where the QL120s has RGB on both the front and back. And I get questions a lot about why I mix match the fans, and so that's pretty much the only reason why. And if you don't know this case and you're living under a rock, it is all tucked inside the Lee & 011 Dynamic. Now, obviously, with what I do, a big part of what I do is having a really nice setup. And with all these components that I have, the Lee & 011 Dynamic was definitely the case that I needed in order to make my setup just that perfect aesthetic. Now, on a less important note, up top, I have my 3 current favorite flavors of G Fuel. I have Snow Cone, Bahama Mama, and Sour Fazeberry. Then I have my Amazon Alexa, I have my Wi-Fi booster, I have a plant, and I have a little Stormtrooper Funko Pop. Now, above my entire setup, I do have a 55-inch TV, and I get a lot of questions about how I watch TV with it being in the way of my monitors, and the honest to God truth is, I don't watch TV. So I guess that kind of answers all those questions. And for my secondary light, I do have this newer 18-inch ring light. This thing is massive and produces a crap ton of light. Again, like I said, soon I do want to upgrade to the Elgato key lights, but for now, that's what we're rocking with. Now, for the final part of my room, I have my dresser as well as my caffeine and G Fuel addiction. With this tower, I currently have 13 tubs of G Fuel, and if you're including those 3, I currently have 16 tubs of G Fuel. I know it's a little bit of an addiction, but if you haven't tried G Fuel, you wouldn't understand. It's amazing. Now, up top above the setup, I have these Yeelight art panels. These are like a more cheaper and budget-friendly version of Nano Leaves, and for some reason on camera they appear pure white, but it's actually a really nice shade of blue. They are just too bright for my camera to handle it, I guess. On the side of my desk, I just have a bunch of random stuff. This dresser is kind of messy. It's kind of just where I throw a bunch of random stuff. So I have like deodorant, I have Febreze, I have a candle, 3 candles over here, and I'm currently sick, so I have Tylenol. Now, lighting up this back wall, I have these Govee flow bars. Now, these normally do go on the back of a monitor to give the behind the monitor a glow, but I went ahead and took this stand and put them up on my dresser, which I just think looks amazing. And anything off on that, that pretty much wraps up the entirety of my setup.